sounds of it.
Perfect. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. We're just going to wait a few more minutes till a few people get on there, and we'll start our presentation on New York City with our resident expert, Merv McAdam.
Hi, everybody.
While we get started, just if you want to, in the comment section or chat function, can you just let us know your name and where you're viewing the video from? There's Margot. Hi, Margot. Hi, Ann. Hi, Candace. Hello, Brittany. Welcome to our Facebook Live. And we'll also have Caitlin in the background. Caitlin will be responding to you in the chat from Target Tours, and she'll be ready to take your reservation whenever you're ready to book a nice trip to New York City. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll just wait a few more minutes, and hopefully the weather's nice where you are. It's been a little cool, but it's a very nice sunny day today. Quite nice. Busy on the island with the Canada Games, so hopefully people get to watch that and take in some of the festivities. All right. Hi, Carol. Carol's watching from Toronto. Carol Landry. I think she's traveled with you before, Merv.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Perfect.
Many times.
All right, everybody. We're going to get started now. So we have a few more people coming on, and they'll join us. They'll join up throughout the presentation. My name is John Dunphy with Target Tours, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of my favorite tour directors, one of my favorite 3 tour directors, Merv McAdam. Hello, Merv. Welcome to our Facebook Live.
Thanks, John. Great to be on here. I've been looking forward to this to chat with people as we go. So,
yeah, no, that's excellent. We have a small presentation that we're going to give folks just to give you an idea of what you can expect when you come with Target Tours to New York City, and we're excited about that. But first thing I want to do is introduce this gentleman, and Merv, one of our long-term tour directors. And Merv, just give us a little background. You're born and raised on PEI. What else can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I was born here, raised in PEI, pretty much in Charlottetown most of my life. And like most young people, at age 19, I took off for about 5 years and traveled around a bit to a couple of years in Toronto, a couple of years in Halifax, here in Moncton, and so on. But everybody usually comes home. And I always used to say, it's a good, everybody should, it should be mandatory to get away for a couple of years and grow up. So, yeah, and the rest was there.
Excellent. So you sold a lot of appliances at Sears. And,
I did.
You started with us in 2010. We were talking earlier today about that. You've got a funny story that you'd like to share about that. So I'll let you take it over the story.
Well, actually, in 2008, when my first year, I was doing local tour guide from the cruise ships. And we had, for the first time ever, we had a big 3-ship day and a lot of extra people around, a lot of extra divers. So we just get our little file and said, okay, your driver's name is John. He's out there. Go find him. Here's his bus number. Get out. And of course, here's who I meet is John Dunphy. First time we met, we did back-to-back tours, and we kind of found out we both had the same weird sense of humor. And went on from there. And then in 2010, May of 2010, I did my first New York tour with Target Tours as John was getting going.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, to say. Come May, this will be my 31st tour to New York. So.
Wow, 31 tours. That's why I've only done 3.
Yeah, but we did one together.
Yeah, exactly. We did do one together. Yes, that's quite a story. Anyways, yeah, so that story was, we did one together. It was 2012. And the driver, unfortunately, at the time was he took ill in Woodstock and he couldn't drive the bus. And I was supposed to drive, be a tour director the next day on a shopping trip, but instead I ended up driving a bus to New York City. So anyway, my first time and was my last time.
But they had two tour directors on that tour, see?
They had two tour directors. That was quite amazing. Yeah, everybody was lucky to have that. So, Merv, we got a couple of tours, 4 tours actually we're doing this year. We're doing one in May 4th to May 9th, of course, over Mother's Day. New York summer, we have September 7th to 12th, first weekend in New York Theater, which is your all-time favorite. Can you tell us about the spring? Why is it a good time to visit in spring?
Oh, the spring's a great time, especially when we're talking May 4th to the 9th. All the trees, of course, have their leaves, unlike here. But not only that, they still have their blossoms, the trees that actually have blossoms on them. Central Park is absolutely gorgeous that particular week. It's got the leaves on the trees, it's got the white blossoms and so on. It's just one of the most beautiful times to be there, really. Yeah. And it's quite comfortable temperature-wise. So.
Yeah, it's of course the summer one in September. We're coming off, of course, our warm summer, so it's the temperatures are kind of cooling off a little bit, and people have gone back to school, so it's kind of opens up New York. And it's also a good time to visit New York. It's
a great time because the temperatures here are cooling off, but in New York they're still quite reasonable and quite warm. It's just more of a summer temperature. I guess that's why we call it summer. And there's no bad time to visit New York.
Yeah. Put it that way. And your favorite's always New York Theater.
New York Theater, which I always do. Yeah, that's my favorite. And we'll talk about that a little later, I guess, when we see the other slides. Yeah.
And of course, we also do the one at Christmas. So Christmas is a little bit different, so it's a little bit cooler, but it's everything's all decked out in Christmas lights. And if you're a Christmas lover, this is certainly one of the tours that you'd want to take part in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So our presentation today, we're just going to go through a few of the highlights that we feel people will enjoy when they go from New York. And New York is kind of a destination that you can go 3 or 4 times and do something different every time. There's so much to do. So we're just going to talk to some photos here. Population, of course, in New York is over 18 million. When you look at those photos, what comes to mind?
Oh, it's such a vibrant city. It's like always moving, that kind of thing. And there's a photo there with the Empire State in the background. There's another photo looking down Fifth Avenue and so on. And it's just so much going on all the time, kind of thing. Just so people know that the population there that population includes the greater New York area, so it stretches into Connecticut as well. The 5 boroughs, it's actually around about 9 million, and then there's another 9 million people just right beside there, right next door. But those photos there, it's just everything is so. You see the Empire State lit up in the middle photo there at night. Yeah, and there's various different colored lights or whatever. Actually, you can rent 10 minutes for $50,000.
We should do that. But it's a very safe city too, right? Because there's police. That's very big presence of police on corners, and you can be walking back at 2 a.m. and still feel pretty safe. That people just leave you alone. It
actually is. There is police everywhere. It wasn't always so like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, but then there was a real renaissance there, and especially after 9/11, it became a much safer city for people, and the area that we stay in and the things that we go to, we're usually going in groups anyway, most of the time, so I feel pretty comfortable.
And we stay right in Times Square, right at the Hilton, New York, so you're right in the middle of the action.
Yeah, a few blocks from Times Square and close to all the various things. It's about 2 blocks from Radio City, and just everything is in Midtown. Everything is walkable. The whole city is walkable. And it doesn't take long to cover 20 blocks going down an avenue. You're less than 20 minutes really. They're short blocks. So.
Exactly. and you start to learn how to walk like a New Yorker pretty fast.
Yeah, New York minute.
Exactly. So some of this, we always have this debate when people want to go to either top of the rock or they want to go to the Empire State Building. What do you recommend?
Well, if you have time, you can certainly do both if you have time. I like the top of the rock better simply because it's a better viewing deck, a larger viewing deck, which goes all the way around the building. Even though it's only 70 floors up, and the Empire State is 86 or a little higher if you want to pay the extra. They always say in the Empire State Building, you can't actually see the Empire State Building when you're there, but from the top of the rock you can. But it doesn't matter. There's so many more new ones that have opened up in the last couple of years now that are even higher than those again. And I'm looking forward to the two new ones that have opened. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to see those this year.
Nice.
There's lots of observatories, and they're great.
And also with the top of the rock, you get a good picture of Central Park.
You do. That's your best shots of Central Park. I think we have a shot there coming up where you see all of Central Park, the whole park. I mean, the park, it's 4 kilometers, north to south kind of thing, about probably about a little over a kilometer wide. So it's a really good shot and a really good easy from the Rockefeller Center. And of course, that's where the tree is, right in front of that building too. Christmas tree.
The no trip to New York would be complete unless you went down to this area, the 9/11 Memorial Museum.
The 9/11 Memorial. It's a very emotional place to go. You need time for sure. When I saw it, I spent 2 hours, but could have spent 4 hours easily. But my legs were giving out. It's cement, so it's a lot of time there. But it's very emotional. It's well worth the visit for sure.
I think Lindsay, she was down on the November trip. She mentioned that she did about 3 hours and just go out, and it was like, oh my God, it was overwhelming. But so much, it was good to see it. And of course, one of the main attractions there is the train station or the subway station.
You see the inside shot of the Oculus. It's called the Oculus there. That is over the entrance. And outside, it looks even. I don't think we have a shot there. It's quite a sight to see. And it's easy to get to there. Like if you want to go from the hotel and take the subway, it's quite easy to get there. It's a fair bit of a walk, but you can cab it or you can walk it or subway.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, they got the pools down there, the 2 pools, which is the outline of the both buildings.
Yes, the reflecting pools with the names, and that's that, and the building outside is actually part of our tour with our tour guide anyway.
Perfect. No tour to New York will be complete without Broadway. So, what can you tell us about Broadway?
Gosh. Broadway is just it's. I don't think in all the years I've been doing this, I've heard anybody say, "Oh, what a terrible show." Always just so fantastic and things like that. So last fall, when we did the November tour, one of the options we had was the Chicago. That's actually the first one I had seen when I went to New York for the first time in 2010. That was my very first show that I had seen. So I got to see it again last year. It's now in its 26th year, which is second only to the Phantom of the Opera, which, by the way, is closing out in April this year after 35 years. But there's so many. Something maybe I'd like, if you've got a minute, we'll take a minute. I was just checking today there on Jersey Boys because COVID changed everything. I had seen Jersey Boys a number of times when it played at the August Wilson Theater, and then it closed out in 2017. But then it went to off-Broadway. So maybe just to explain to people, so if it's a play on Broadway, what they call Broadway, which is only one theater on Broadway, the theater will have 500 or more seats. It
Yeah.
has to be 500 or more to say it's on Broadway. If it's off Broadway, it'll be 100 to 500 seats. And if it's
Yeah.
off Broadway, it's less than 100 seats. So just
Yeah.
a lot of people ask me that, and I forget to explain it. So just so you know, but yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's all kinds of entertainment, and you're right. COVID did change a lot. A lot of plays have changed, and dates have changed. So
That's
again,
right.
one of the reasons that we're going later in November now is because one of our favorites, the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, is playing starting later, a week later than we normally go.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, one of the highlights of our trip in December and also November.
Yes. Yeah.
One of your favorite stops, of course, is Central Park, and this is the photo that we've got that we talked about it.
Central Park. Yeah, you're looking at Bethesda Fountain there in the park, and that's part of. Also, we visited that as part of our tour with our tour guide Jimmy. We spent 25, 30 minutes in there. It's absolutely beautiful. It's almost it's the dead center, right about there is the dead center of New York, all the 5 boroughs and everything. That's actually the dead center of New York, right in that area there. And it's great. There's so much to see, and I think we have a slide probably off the John Lennon Memorial as well there. But there's the view on the right from just want to go back just for a second, John.
Sorry,
yeah. So the clip on the view on the right is actually the view from Rockefeller Center, from the top of the rock.
Yes.
Okay. And the building kind of little to the right of center, that's our hotel. That's the Hilton.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. The other thing about that Bethesda Fountain, if anybody is ever a fan of Friends, the TV show, the opening of the show is that fountain. Yes, right. Yeah. And so many movies have been made in New York, right? So, and your tour guide Jimmy will certainly let you know.
Almost everywhere you go, you'll see they say, "Oh, that movie was made there," and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. And of course, our Strawberry Fields, John Lennon Memorial. Yeah.
So Strawberry Fields, it's a memorial. As soon as you get in the park, you see the sign, and just past the sign, you'll see the pictures on the left there as the tiled memorial to John Lennon. Yoko Ono, his wife, that's all she wanted them to put there. She didn't want a big high memorial. She wanted something simple, and they went with her wishes. So you see the sign, Strawberry Field, you see the memorial. Yeah. And she still lives in the building across the street from the park, which we'll see.
So going to New York, you're going to see a lot of these. You're going to see a lot of bridges. So you got 2 rivers.
Yeah. So you have the Hudson River on the west side of Manhattan, and on the east side is, of course, it's the East River, and then the bridge. What most of the shots we have are the Brooklyn Bridge, which is the oldest of the bridges, but from the 1880s. And big thing there is people like to walk the Brooklyn Bridge. It's about a mile, 1.2 miles roughly. And my bucket list is someday to go to New York City as a passenger and finally walk that bridge. All my passengers have, but I haven't. Yeah.
On the day you retire.
On the day I retire, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That and the Museum of Natural History. Those are my 2 things. But of course, I'm working hard to get the time. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But it is. It's quite a sight.
And if you do the Brooklyn Bridge, or if you ever want to do it, we always recommend either taking a subway or going across on the Brooklyn side and walking it all the way back, because that's going to be your best photos, and you don't have to walk over and back. So you just walk it once.
Yeah. Just walk it the once. Yeah, take the subway or whatever way you want to do it, and then walk back.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so we're in New York City, so of course we couldn't be in New York.
Walk back. Yeah. Oh, what's that?
Iconic, yes.
So
What would that
Times
be?
Square, yeah, Times Square. Oh my gosh, it's if you've never seen it, when you see it for the first time, especially at night, but even in the daytime, especially at night, it's an amazing sight. And we will
Yeah,
get to see it a couple of times at night anyway, when we're going to the theater and so on, and walking
yeah,
back from the theater. We'll be walking right through the square with 100,000 other people.
yeah,
It is. It's just if you go to New York and you don't see Times Square, don't tell anybody. Just tell them you
yeah,
saw it.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's safe too, right? There's buskers, and you got to be careful if you're taking your pictures with buskers that they're going to want to get paid for it.
yeah, that's a little hint there. If there's somebody like Minnie Mouse comes up and puts her arm around you, and and somebody takes they take you, your whoever's with you takes the picture or whatever. Uh, they expect you to give them something. If not, they'll hound you. So,
Yeah,
but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with
yeah,
that because it's neat that you get your picture taken in Times Square. So for a couple of bucks or so, it's pretty good.
yeah,
Another little bit of advice in Times Square would be if somebody hands you something like a CD was the big thing for a few years, do not take it because they'll hound you even more. But
yeah,
otherwise the buskers are great. The characters are great. Even Donald Trump was great. His character, somebody did his character and looked so much like him. But yeah, it
yeah.
is. It's and Times Square is, yeah, it's amazing.
And it's probably one of the biggest landmarks you can see from space, from the International Space
Yes.
Station with all the
Yeah.
lights.
Yes, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it's
and it
so
never
bright.
sleeps. Yeah, very
Never
bright.
sleeps. No, no, it never sleeps. When we talk about the city, you talked earlier about walking at 2 in the morning or something like that. When we're staying at the Hilton, one of the food trucks that's on the south side of the Hilton. If you happen to have a room on the south side, you look out. There's always a lineup of about 30 people. If you happen to get up in the middle of the night and look out at 2 o'clock or something like that, there's still a lineup of 30 people getting food. So it never sleeps.
Yeah, no, exactly. Activities, the things you can do when you're there, of course, especially summer and May.
Yeah, yeah. So you get we have a shot there from Madison Square Garden. In November when we were there, we had 4 or 5 people had booked a basketball game before they left home and went
Yeah,
to it. Same with baseball, Yankee Stadium, and it's in the Bronx. If something's going on there, especially in September, you've got some good games going on there. It's about a 20-minute subway ride to get to Yankee Stadium. It's very easy to get to,
yeah,
and it's a beautiful stadium. The new stadium only opened in 2009, so it's not that old, and it's quite a spot as well. Yeah,
yeah,
and any of those venues, and they all also offer tours. If you have the time and you
yeah,
want to, and there's nothing going on that would stop a tour, and you could book a tour and go through the tour. Same with um, the Radio City Music Hall. Whenever you go and check before you go, there might be a concert, there might be something big going on. You could book a
yeah,
ticket ahead of time to see when you're there, as long as it doesn't clash with your schedule. And
yeah,
if there's not much going on, it is an amazing tour to go through that building. Yeah.
yeah. So before we get to the next slide, how much time do people normally get? What time do you normally get into New York? Merv?
Most of the time, depending on traffic and so on, it's an early day. We leave Portsmouth at 7 o'clock in the morning to beat that traffic. Makes a big difference. We usually stop for lunch, depending. We try to stop at the Cracker Barrel in
Yeah,
Milford, Connecticut, and it's because it's the perfect spot as far as leaving there and getting to New York a couple hours later. Uh,
yeah,
and once again, traffic can back up quite a bit. I always tell people, they always say when we're at Cracker Barrel, say, well, how far now? How long? And I said, well, your GPS will say 55 minutes, so about a little over 2 hours.
yeah,
Because we have the traffic and stuff. But usually we'll get in, most times we'll get in 3 to 3:30 in the
yeah,
afternoon. So it gives people time to have a quick look around, get something to eat, and get ready to go to the theater and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
People get pretty comfortable pretty quick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's amazing. They get used to traveling around. One of your favorite spots that you like to go visit? Of course, Grand Central Station.
Grand Central Terminal actually is the proper name for it, because it's everything ends there. Grand Central Terminal. The slides you see there, those are the solid gold chandeliers that you see hanging from the ceiling there. That's part of our tour as well. Once again, traffic permitting, we usually end up going there. It's one of our washroom breaks, actually. But it's so beautiful, and there's quite a story to it, which our guide tells us all about, and so on. If you look at the top left slide, I'm looking at the building there with the street signs on it. Just to the left of that is one of the new buildings with the new tower with the observation deck that just opened in this past year. And it's something that you might want to check there. That's the one with the it has elevators inside, but if you're brave enough, you can take the glass elevator with the glass floor on the outside and go up.
Wow.
So anyway, I may do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a spot.
The next one is the New York Public Library.
New York Public Library, once again, it's a beautiful building. It's not that old building. It's about around 1912, 1913, somewhere around that. But so well built and so beautiful. And you can access almost anywhere in the library. You can walk through any of the floors. There's no charge. And some of the stuff that's inside is just amazing. And you see there's one of the two lions that guard the library, so to speak. Right next door to that, where you see the trees with the lion there, is a park that has free Wi-Fi, tables, chairs, all kinds of things going on all the time. In the wintertime, they have a skating rink. They have craft shops in there, similar to Quebec City, or the Christmas markets, that kind of thing. And it's just there's so much free stuff you can do as well in New York, and that's just some of it right there.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing about New York is not having to you don't have to spend a lot of money to enjoy yourself. There's still a lot of free things you can do. Even walking the High Line.
Yes,
it's no cost to that. You can go do that for free. You can walk
the
bridge for free.
Yeah, so to explain the High Line, it's what it is an old rail beds that used to run through the meatpacking district, and they just left them there to kind of rust and stuff, and now it's a walk-through park, actually. Yeah. Places to rest and sit and so on. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's like I said, a lot of free things you can do. You don't have to spend a lot of money, and even pizza. You can get a slice of pizza for $1 still, I think, can't you?
Yeah, it's probably more now since COVID, but probably $2. Yeah.
$2.
From $2 up. Yeah.
No, it's pretty amazing. So anything else you want before I'll let everybody know that if you have any questions that you want to ask, just please ask them in the comment section, and I'll certainly let Merv know. But anything else, like of all those 31 trips, what would have been the favorite thing you would have seen in any of those trips?
Oh dear. The city itself. God, that's a tricky question. Everything was my favorite, really. I suppose. I think part of what I really like when we're going in that day to the city, we go right through Harlem, and we don't do Harlem as part of our tour with the tour guide. So I get to point out some things there, like the Apollo nightclub, famous Apollo nightclub, and things like that. And there's some pretty nice looking spots as we go down from there all the way through Harlem, and then kind of get to explain how the avenues and the streets work, because because we're going down mostly down the avenues, short blocks,
Yeah.
and people say, "Oh, that's great. That's not very far, those blocks," and so on. Yeah, and the blocks, the blocks are about. I'll go back to feet here, 300 feet, so probably about 80 or 90, 85, 87 meters. The short block, so you can walk a block if it's depending on how much traffic, foot traffic, in a minute or a little over a minute sometimes. Now the streets are longer. Okay, streets are almost 3 times the length of an avenue block, so it takes longer to walk that block. There's somewhere around 800 feet or something like that. So so I get to kind of point all that out as we're going down, and people say, "Oh, until you get downtown, most of the streets have lots of trees, lots of shrubbery, lots of things on them. It's only when you get into the skyscraper stuff that you won't see probably as many trees and so on." But it's just, I could talk all day.
Yeah, no, it's
favorite. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this. What are some funny things that have happened to you in New York City? You got to have 31 trips. You got to have some funny things that have happened.
Oh dear, yes. Funny things. Funny. Oh wow. Well, some I can't talk about, but yeah, funny things. I'm not really sure. Like, one of the things, and you may remember this. Not really funny, but it was a teaching thing for us, where I had a group of ladies one time, 4 ladies who were going to the theater, and they'd booked dinner at Sardi's before that, and they'd gone in the afternoon to Macy's, of course, the big department store. Well, Macy's, there's four different streets you can go out on, right? 3 of the ladies said, "We're going back now." The 4th lady said, "No, I think I'm going to stay for a bit." So anyway, she came out the wrong door, different door she went in. She got lost, and it wasn't funny at the time, but they had joked about it quite a bit later. But what it taught us was to do the thing where on my card, my little business card, we now put the name, the address of the hotel, and all that, and we give each person, hand it to them on the coach. Anyway, it's worked for us 3 or 4 times after that, where somebody wasn't sure where they were able to call me or the hotel or whatever. So I know you asked about funny, but I mean, that was just a little thing that made it a little more relaxed for people. Especially me. I've never lost anybody for more than 4 hours. No.
You haven't forgotten anybody twice.
No, not twice. No. Yeah.
My funniest story. I had a group. Lynn and I took a group down. We were actually doing an Amish trip, but we stopped in New York City, and so some of them want to go to the theater. So I said, "Lynn, you take them to the theater. I'll take the other group and do kind of a walking tour around New York." So we did Bryant Park and up Fifth Avenue. And I said, "All right, everybody, we're going on the subway." And the look of fear in their face was just, "We're going on the subway." I said, "Yep." So we took them down to the subway station, showed them how to buy a ticket, and got them through the turnstile. I said, "All right, we're just going to go on this subway. We're going to go up 2 stops and get off." So we get off and up the top of the street, and I said, "All right, let's back to the hotel." So I got my flag and I'm taking everybody to the hotel, and I looked and to my right, and I thought, "What the heck is Times Square doing on that side?" So, wrong way.
Yeah.
So, of course, I laughed. I said, "Let's go back this way." But anyways, it's a beautiful city. I love when you take people there and they're nervous on that Friday, and then the Saturday morning they're on tour, and then by Saturday afternoon they're gone. They're on their own. And we used to, that trip we did to New York that time, I had 12 people with me that were doing their own thing, and by the end of the day, I had 2. Everybody just got comfortable with it, and you got to go down to Canal Street and get your knockoff purses. Don't get the Rolex watch; they'll only last till you get to the border, and you have to change the time. So,
true enough. Yeah, and that's you mentioned in that it makes it goes to show you can't really get lost if especially if there's more than one person together for
Yeah.
more than a few blocks, because I spend a fair bit of time going over how the streets work, and that I think that helps. And people, like you say, they do get very comfortable very quickly. Yeah, by noontime on the Saturday, we ride Friday afternoon. By noontime, we can go anywhere.
Yeah. So, Merv, I've got some questions here that I'm going to get to, and I'm just going to go in order. So we've got Claire and Wayne. Thanks, Claire and Wayne, for joining us. Jocelyn, interesting, funny girl. What do you recommend? What do you recommend to purchase tickets? So we would usually wait, first of all, till the tour is guaranteed, and we'll let you know that as soon as that happens, and then you can book your tickets there. We just don't want you having tickets in case for some reason the tour was not able to go. So just wait for that. And Pam asked if there are 4 people who want to buy Broadway show tickets, how do they get seats together but pay on separate cards? Okay, so we can help you with your group to get your tickets. And we might be able to do 4 cards. So just contact either Caitlin or Lindsay and let us know what show you want to see, and we'll make sure that we can do that for you. Okay. A lot of times what we'll do is that we'll pay for the tickets ourselves, and we'll charge you in Canadian. So we'll just have to add a little commission on there first for the service fee for the credit card, but we can do it. Anne's asking, I'm interested in going in Christmas. Is there a night to see a play then? Yes. So you have a teenage daughter, and you can take your teenage daughter. So first of all, the first question, yes. So we arrive on a Friday, usually at 3:30, and we normally don't suggest booking a theater that night, just in case something happens so you don't feel rushed. But you have 2 other nights. You've got Saturday night and Sunday night that you can book a theater show. I think that, and normally on that day we will have Radio City Christmas Spectacular on a Saturday, so you can book something on a Sunday evening, or you can also book a matinee on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes,
and yes, you can take your teenage daughter. That's one of the best ways of traveling. With mother and daughter, and both celiac. So restaurants are pretty good for accommodating celiac. So we can help you out with that. And good question, Anne. And Jocelyn said it says Saturday tour ends at Rock Sunday. Do you recommend we purchase tickets prior to leaving or once we get there? Merv, what's been your experience with people buying tickets when they get to New York?
Yeah. Okay. If it's something that you really, really want to see, and there's just no way you're going to see something else, you probably should book ahead. It's going to cost you more. There is a thing there. You can go to some of the theaters on the day off, and maybe get a seat or 2 together and get a much better price. They also in Times Square, they think a big booth there called tickets. So the only problem there is you have to line up. So you're going to waste a couple of hours of your day. You may get up and the show you want to see is sold out. So you should have something else in mind, maybe 2 or 3 options, because if the ones that you want to sold out, that's not the time to be figuring, what am I going to see? It's the prices are usually pretty good on that. They're usually about half price because they want to fill seats. But if it's something you're going to see and you need to see for sure, I would book ahead, even though it's going to cost you more.
Yeah, perfect. Good idea. Brittany asked if is there a lot of availability for December trip? Yeah, we do have some availability, but we've actually last couple of weeks we've taken some reservations on that. So if you're interested in that, good to get your name in there sooner rather than later. And of course, Carol Landers says Merv is the best tour guide ever. He's very knowledgeable about New York City, has lots of unique information. Perfect. Yeah, we hope you come with him again. Yeah. Margot asks, for the price, do you include all the tickets of the planned events? So on the New York Theater, we include 2 theater shows. And those include, we usually give you a choice of two shows for the first night, and then we do the Radio City Spectacular on the second night. And we usually choose those two shows probably around August, once we know what shows are playing for good. We ran into some, of course, with COVID last year. We started booking shows and confirming who wanted to do what, and then all of a sudden we'd get a notification from the theater that the show is terminating in October. So we would have to do another show, and then that show was canceled. So it was one of those cases where if anything could go wrong, it would go wrong last year. So, the question that Jocelyn makes, to go to the top of the rock, can you get the tickets before or on the day of? So sometimes it's good to get them in advance. That way you get the specific time that you can go up. So if you have a time that you specifically want to go up the top of the rock after the tour, then you can buy that in advance. Otherwise, it's the best time to actually go up to the top of the rock, Merv, is around, say, 4:35.
Yeah, it depends on the time. If you're going to stay in that area, you're going to be doing that. You can book the regular option, which is to go to the top and come down. That's it. You're done. Or you can pay an extra $20 or so, and that lets you go back up at night. Then, so you can go up twice in the same day. It's more money, but it's worth it. Especially if it's a clear day. If it's going to be a clear night, then that's what I would do, because it's worth the extra money to do that. You have two options, and but you can if you just go on the day and you can't go at night, then that's fine. You can book that. Like John said, if you book before you go, everything, you can do everything online now anyway. You can probably get a better choice of times. Yeah. You may get there during the day, and a lot of people like to go after our tour is finished, because that's where we finish our tour, or with our tour guide. You may go in and we'll say, it's going to be like 6:30 before you can go up. We're booked that far ahead. So they're very busy, those places. Most of the other places, you pretty much have to take what time they give you. Top of the Rock, you can book the time ahead. Yeah, and Bobby, it's probably with more. And there's a chance you'll so it's and usually you can also, when we get there on Friday, you can walk down there and book your tickets for the next day. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. So there's all kinds of options that you can do to get your tickets in advance. Yeah, it's only like four blocks away, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's perfect. Merv, finally, I think that's all our questions. So basically, with everybody, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you tuning in for our New York City. One of our favorite destinations. I think this is we keep doing it because we love doing it. There's so much to see, and especially for somebody that's gone there for the first time, especially that lady with the teenage daughter going down. It's just their eyes are just going to be like saucers all the way in through New York, just because it's pretty massive. You're around buildings, businesses everywhere. There's food trucks, food carts everywhere, and it's an amazing city. So, and it's one that you can do relatively inexpensively. So, from being down there, just with paying for your meals and things like that, and of course, Merv will have all kinds of tips of where you get reasonably priced restaurants. Yeah, just to add to that, that's the question I get a lot. Is so where can we eat? Where can we have breakfast? Where can we do this? You walk out the hotel door, walk around the block, and you'll see 40 restaurants. Anything you want. It could be a deli. It could be there's all kinds of delis. Even the drugstores, you can get sandwiches and everything imaginable just in even the drugstores. So no problem with food. Yeah. And the other thing with where we stay, it's you'll see prices for New York City a lot cheaper than us, almost half the price.
but you really need to find out where they're staying. Chances are they're staying in New Jersey and they're going to bus you over and bus you home. So when we stay in New York City, we stay right in Times Square. And the nice part about that is because you are walking so much, and I did a group there. It was a school group, and I think we put in 28,000 steps in one day. But you can, in the middle of the afternoon, your feet are sore, but 2 o'clock, you can go back to the room. You can have a little nap, you can rest up, and you can go back out at 4 o'clock. So it just gives you that option that you can go back to the room. You can put your feet up for a couple of hours and then go back out and go at it. And need to get us registered, just call the office, or if you want, go to our website to the tour that you want, and there's a book now, and you can just fill out that form, and we'll as soon as you fill out the form, we'll put you on the list, and Caitlin will be calling you with your payment and insurance options. So yeah, please just give us a call and we'll get you on that list. So Merv, thank you very much. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I wanted to even talk, I haven't even mentioned about people getting us confused and mixed up. But it's I appreciate you. You know, when we send our groups to New York City or wherever we send our groups, we know they're in great hands when you're leading. So thank you very much.
And just to add to that, they're in great hands with any of us. You know,
yeah,
not just me. Yeah. The other tour directors are terrific at New York as well. They're just. If it's time for me to just tell a little fun story, okay?
Yeah.
So back in 2008, the same year I met John, John was with still with the travel store before he started his own business, and my wife went on the theater tour that they used to do in conjunction with the Confederation Center. And she went with a bunch of other women that November. And I used to think, why does anybody want to go to New York? And of course, 2 years later, I started, and now I can't get enough of it. So
yeah. No,
quite a change. Quite a change in my
Quite a change in that, yeah. And it's like I said, it's bounced back very well from COVID. So you'll when you're down there, you won't even notice it. But it's a sunny spot to go. And again, it's a spot. If this is your first bus tour, this is a great one to do because you're a day and a half on the bus and you're there, and then a day and a half to come home. And of course, we do a little bit of shopping on the way home. But it's one of those kind of entry level. If you want to start seeing what group travel is or what bus tours are like, try a New York trip, and then you'll be hooked. You'll be back with other trips. So, Merv, thank you very much. Everybody, if you have any questions, please reach out to the office, Caitlin or Lindsay, and let us know how we can help. And it's been a pleasure to be with you tonight, and hope to have you on our tours in the near future. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us.
Take care.